Fiancée freaked out over a kitty diagram in my med school textbook. Now she's demanding I drop out or it's over. Some backstory. My fiancée, Annie, and I have known each other since childhood and started dating junior year of high school. After graduating, we both went to our state school, and I proposed to her during our junior year of undergrad. We've both dreamed of becoming doctors for as long as I can remember. When it came time to apply to medical schools, I applied to a mix of MD and DO programs with varying levels of selectivity. Initially, I planned to continue at our state institution to avoid significant debt. However, I was unexpectedly offered a spot at one of the top med schools in the country in New England, along with a significant scholarship. Although it would still cost me slightly more than our state school, the difference wasn't dramatic. Annie, despite advice from myself, our parents, and professors, chose to apply only to our state school and a few highly selective programs where she wasn't competitive based on her grades and research experience. Unfortunately, she was rejected from all of them, including our state institution. She was devastated, and I've been doing my best to support her and keep her optimistic. Now, I'm enrolled at the New England Medical School, while Annie has taken a gap year to improve her application by gaining research and shadowing experience. She's currently living with me, working part-time in retail since no jobs related to her degree, political science, offer the flexibility she needs. I've tried to be as supportive as possible and have never brought up "I told you so" or anything like that. Here's what happened on Friday night. I was studying for a Monday test when Annie came home from work. She kissed me, but then suddenly looked upset. After a pause, she pointed at an anatomy textbook on my desk and asked, "What is wrong with you?" I was confused and asked what she meant. She then accused me of looking at pictures of women's kitties in my anatomy book. I was shocked. I calmly explained that it was part of my studies, but she wasn't convinced. She took the book, stormed into our bedroom, and locked the door. I could hear her crying and apologized repeatedly. After a while, she opened the door, threw her engagement ring at me, and locked herself back in. The next morning, she was gone. She sent me a text saying she was staying with a friend and wouldn't come back unless I dropped out of med school and got a different job. Her exact words were, "I don't want you ogling at kitties like a pervert." This behavior is completely out of character for her. Annie has always been level-headed and reasonable, with no history of mental health issues. I know this isn't really about the textbook, but I have no idea what's driving this. She stopped responding to my calls and texts. I reached out to the friend she's staying with, who called me an awful person and said Annie is crying and drinking. They told me not to come over. Annie doesn't have family to lean on, so I'm deeply worried about her well-being. I love her more than anything, but I'm not dropping out of medical school. I'm stuck between trying to save our relationship and protecting my own future, and I could really use advice on how to navigate this. Update 1 week later. I'll save you the suspense. She wasn't cheating, and she wasn't pregnant. Yesterday, I decided I'd had enough and went to the place where she was staying, fully intending to end the relationship. When I arrived, she was half drunk, and what followed was a lot of yelling and cussing directed at me. That's when I finally learned the real reason she wanted me to drop out of medical school. It had absolutely nothing to do with anatomy textbooks. Here's the backstory. When I was a sophomore, 2 of my friends dropped out of college to focus on their tech startup. They even invited me to join them. My undergrad degree is in computer science. I turned them down because I wanted to stick to my dream of becoming a doctor. Fast forward to last year, their startup sold to a major tech company for a substantial amount, low 8 figures. I was genuinely happy for them. After the sale, their lives obviously changed. One proposed to his girlfriend with an enormous diamond ring, and they're constantly traveling to exotic locations with their families and partners. Apparently, seeing their success and new lifestyles made my girlfriend extremely jealous. That's when she came up with the anatomy book excuse, hoping I'd leave med school and take a high-paying job. She actually said I could easily get a job making $150,000 a year at a bank so we wouldn't have to live like this, and called me a complete idiot for not doing so. Still, I was confused, so I asked about her dreams of becoming a doctor. That's when she dropped another bomb. She never wanted to be a doctor. She only pretended to because it's all I ever talked about. Looking back, this explains her odd approach to med school applications. That was it for me. I broke up with her on the spot and told her not to contact me again. She's staying with her friend while we sort out our living arrangements, and I'm moving forward with my life.